So, here to discuss it, we have Toni Bugle, from the founder of Mothers Against Radical Islam and Sharia, and also human rights campaigner Peter Tatchell. Good evening to you both. Thanks for coming on. Peter, let's start with you, if we may. You see this generally as a positive mood, I think. Why do you say that when many others say, look, this is just political correctness gone mad? Peter?
Well, I think it's good to try and be sensitive and to not cause needless offence. And quite clearly, transgender men or intersex men who do become pregnant would probably rather not be referred to as mothers. So I think it's just showing a sensitivity and a compassion towards their situation. And I don't think there's any big deal about referring to people as, expectant people or expectant, persons. I think that's just a small concession we make in order to not cause offence. And I would hope that if people are inadvertently referred to as expectant mothers and they happen to be trans or intersex, I hope they wouldn't be offended, because I'm sure in most cases no offence is intended. But let's err on the side of caution and try and avoid any offence if we can. OK, Toni, let's bring you in here. You heard that sort of argument. What's your response? You know, it's just a small step so we can all feel more inclusive.
Well, the first thing I want to say, before I say anything else, is hello to my mother, who was an expectant mother, who gave birth to me. And I, having given birth to 2 children myself, I find this absolutely ludicrous. And what I find amazing is that whilst, look, it's not about whether people are... It seems OK to offend millions of mothers by taking the word mothers away from us. I mean, where do we stop? What, are we going to have no expectant fathers? Are they going to become non-existent? Where does it stop? This is the problem. It's not because transgender people have a right to choose to call themselves whatever they want to call themselves, and that's perfectly their right. But I have the right as a woman as well to be referred to as an expectant mother, and who has a right to take that from me?
But Peter, I mean, that's a good argument, isn't it? You are actually excluding people by introducing a phrase like this too.
Well, first of all, I guess we're all human beings, and our common humanity is what should unite us. And yes, there are differences between us, but we should try and minimise those differences or not overemphasise them where it's not necessary. And the question I would ask, in medical terms, and this was a recommendation from the British Medical Association, is it necessary to refer to women as expectant mothers? Is it necessary to perhaps inadvertently cause offence to trans and intersex men? I don't think it's necessary. So my view is live and let live, and let's just try and be as polite and courteous as we can to offend as few people as possible. And as I said, if someone is inadvertently referred to as an expectant mother and they happen to be trans or intersex, I hope they wouldn't take that as an intended insult. I think they should also be prepared to give a little as well and recognise that when that term is used, it isn't intended to exclude them. But
all right,
we're going to try our best to try and include them.
Let's bring Toni back in here, sure. Toni, is there a frustration I sense among some people, certainly who believe this is political correctness gone mad, is that this is just one of many, 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 many things that we're now told to say and do, and people get frustrated by that?
Well, look, we've had the word mankind replaced, the word, to not to offend people. I just wonder, when it comes around to Mother's Day, are we going to have what they would class, I mean, I've had to write it down because that's how ludicrous it is, but are we going to have parent people cards instead of Mother's Day cards? Because it might offend transgender people. I've got transgender friends. They are not offended by the fact that when I was pregnant, I was referred to as an expectant mother. It seems to me that the regressive left are permanently being offensive, but permanently taking offence. That's how it feels for me. And actually, as a woman who's given birth, I've also lost many children. Yes, I do think it's very important that when I went to the hospital, that I was referred to as an expectant mother, with the word expectant meaning excitement. I was an excited new mother-to-be. And to take that away from me, that's like saying, well, let's not step on anybody else's toes, let's not cause any offence, but it's all right to offend me.
Peter, can I just bring Peter in? Just respond to that, Peter, because mothers are being offended. We're hearing it here now.
I hear that entirely, and I sympathise. The point is, this recommendation only concerns things like, I think, as far as I know, particular forms and applications and things that have to be done officially, where a person is not known to the doctor or the nurse. So I'm sure that in a hospital, if you are clearly a woman and you are pregnant, then you will be referred to, and I think quite rightly, as an expectant mother. So I think it's just about particular forms and statistics.
Sorry, go on, Toni.
So are you saying then, Peter, are you saying that what you're implying is that some transgender people, a doctor can't tell the difference between whether they would actually go, yeah, you're transgender, I can tell by looking at you. Well, I know many people who are transgender and you can't tell the difference. But the fact of the matter is, that doesn't give, it does offend me. I am a mother and I was an expectant mother, and I would defy anybody to take that right away from my daughter, who will also one day be an expectant mother.
Sure, but in a hospital, if a doctor or nurse meets you...
Where does it stop?
Yeah, in a hospital, if a doctor or nurse meets you and you're in a pregnancy ward expecting a child, I think most doctors and nurses, I would support them referring to you as an expectant mother. It's just when the identity and full details of a person is not known, then I think it's preferable to err on the side of caution. But in actual real-life situations, when a person is known to the hospital staff, when their gender and gender identity and whatever is known, then of course, if you are a mother, if you are a woman and you are an expectant mother, then of course that's the way you should be referred to. OK, and just guys, we've just got 1 minute left, so I just want to ask you both. Peter, I know you're a human rights activist, a very keen one, but do you not feel as though we go too far? I know that Toni brought up some examples. Doctors are saying now we shouldn't use the word perhaps man hours or mankind. Instead, we should use work hours or humanity. This is the sort of thing that frustrates people, isn't it, Peter? Well, again, I think it's just an attempt to sort of get rid of the sexist history that a lot of our language has grown up with. OK. You know, when we talk about the rights of man, as used to be done in the time of the French Revolution, women were excluded. OK. And, you know, I think that's a bad thing.
Peter,
fine, and the last 20 seconds to you,
I'm
Toni.
Sorry. Right, well, let me just say, I'm a true feminist, Peter, a real true feminist. I embrace the differences between men and women. I know we are different, we are equal in value, but I have no problem with there being a manhole cover or a mankind. It doesn't offend me, it doesn't offend most of the public. It's only the permanently left that's permanently offended.
We're going to have to leave it there.
Permanently offensive.
Thanks to you both for coming on to RT. Enjoyed hearing your views on this. That was Toni Bugle there, founder of Mothers Against Radical Islam and Sharia, and also Peter Tatchell. He's a human rights activist. Thank you.